You can shower every day, wear clean clothes, use deodorant, and still notice that you do not smell quite as fresh as you used to. After 40, the surprising problem is often not that your hygiene has become worse. It is that the same routine you have trusted for years may no longer match the way your skin, clothes, scalp, mouth, and daily environment behave now. Japanese hygiene culture often focuses less on covering odor and more on stopping small sources of buildup before they become noticeable. And one of the biggest sources is not on your body at all. It is something most people touch every day, rarely clean properly, and never suspect. 1. Stop treating your bath towel like it stays clean for a week. A bath towel touches freshly washed skin, so it is easy to assume that it remains clean for several uses, but a towel becomes damp, warm, and filled with tiny traces of moisture, skin oil, and dead skin every time you dry yourself. If it stays folded, hangs in a poorly ventilated bathroom, or never dries completely between uses, it can slowly develop its own stale smell. The next time you use it, some of that odor can return to skin that you have just cleaned. This becomes particularly noticeable when a bathroom remains humid after showers. You may step out smelling completely fresh. Dry yourself with a towel that has been
laundry
hanging there
odor
for
can
several
become
days.
much stronger
Get dressed,
once the fabric
and
is
then
worn
notice a
and
faint
warmed
musty
by the
scent
body.
later. You might assume your soap was
That's
not
when I
strong
realized
enough,
the smell
or that your
started
body
long
odor
before
has
the wash
changed,
cycle.
when the real problem began with the fabric you used after washing. A useful Japanese-inspired approach is to treat the towel as part of your hygiene system rather than as a neutral bathroom object. After using it, spread it out fully so that as much fabric as possible is exposed to air. A towel folded over itself on a small hook may stay damp in the middle for hours. Hanging it across a wider bar allows moisture to escape more quickly. Ventilation matters too. If your bathroom has an exhaust fan, use it long enough to remove lingering steam. If there is a safe window, allowing fresh air to circulate can help fabrics dry instead of sitting in warm humidity. You do not necessarily need a brand new towel every time you shower. What matters is whether the towel dries completely and remains genuinely fresh between uses. Smell it before using it. If there is even a slight sour or damp odor, wash it rather than putting that smell back onto clean skin. Also be careful about assuming stronger fabric. Fragrance means cleaner fabric. A heavily scented towel can still contain stale moisture underneath the perfume. Cleanliness should come from washing and drying properly, not from covering one smell with another. After 40, staying fresh often requires looking beyond the body itself. Your towel touches nearly every part of you immediately after bathing. If that one item is carrying yesterday's moisture forward, even a perfect shower routine can be undone before you have finished getting dressed. 2. Do not leave wet laundry sitting inside the washing machine. One of the fastest ways to create an odor that follows you throughout the day is surprisingly simple: leaving clean laundry wet inside the washing machine after the cycle has finished. It happens easily. You start a load, answer a phone call, begin cooking, leave the house, or simply forget about it. 1 hour becomes several, and sometimes the clothing remains inside until the following morning. The garments may still look perfectly clean when you finally remove them, but they have spent hours sitting together in a closed, humid drum. That environment can create a stale smell that becomes much more noticeable once the clothes are worn. The tricky part is that you may not detect it immediately. Cool fabric can smell almost normal. Then you put on the shirt, your body warms it, a little moisture develops during the day, and suddenly that faint laundry odor becomes stronger. Many people then blame their sweat or think they need stronger deodorant. The smell actually began before they got dressed. A Japanese household principle worth borrowing is simple: wash, then dry promptly and completely. When a cycle finishes, move the clothes out as soon as reasonably possible. Shake each garment open rather than leaving sleeves, waistbands, or thick sections folded against themselves. If you air dry clothing indoors, avoid packing everything tightly together on one rack. Leaving small spaces between garments allows moving air to reach the fabric. A crowded rack may look efficient, but it can keep thicker sections damp far longer. Pay special attention to bras, undershirts, waistbands, socks, towels, and clothing with several layers of fabric. The outside can feel dry, while seams and elastic sections are still holding moisture. Never place slightly damp clothing into drawers simply because you need the drying space. Once moisture is trapped inside a closed drawer or crowded wardrobe, the problem can spread beyond one garment. If you forget a load long enough that it has already developed a musty smell, drying it may not be enough. Washing it again is often better than hoping the smell disappears. Another smart habit is to schedule laundry around your availability. If you know you will leave home before the cycle finishes, wait and start it later. That tiny planning decision can protect an entire load. Fresh laundry is not finished when the washing machine beeps. It is finished when every piece is clean, completely dry, and stored without trapped moisture. 3. Stop wearing the same sleepwear night after night. People tend to have very different standards for daytime clothing and sleepwear. Wear a shirt outside for an entire day, and you probably consider it ready for the laundry. Wear the same pajamas for several nights, however, and they may still feel acceptable because they never left the house and do not look dirty. But pajamas spend many hours directly against warm skin. While you sleep, the fabric collects normal moisture, skin oil, body lotion, skincare products, and small amounts of perspiration. You do not need to wake up soaked in sweat for this to happen. Your body naturally releases heat and moisture throughout the night. Now imagine showering before bed and putting on pajamas that have already absorbed several previous nights of use. You have cleaned your body, but you are immediately surrounding it with fabric carrying yesterday's buildup. By morning, you may feel less fresh despite having bathed only hours earlier. A better approach is to think of sleepwear as close to skin clothing, rather than clothing that stays clean simply because it is worn indoors. Keep a few simple sets available so you can rotate them without creating unnecessary laundry stress. The same rule can apply to robes and loungewear. These garments are easy to overlook because they belong to the home, but think about how they are actually used. A robe might be worn after showering, during breakfast, while cooking, when cleaning, and again before bed. Over several days, it can collect far more than you realize. Check high contact areas such as the collar, underarms, chest, and waistband. If those areas smell noticeably different from the rest of the garment, it is time to wash it even if there is no visible stain. Another small improvement is to cool down before getting dressed after a hot bath or shower. If your skin is still producing heat and perspiration, putting on pajamas immediately can make fresh fabric damp within minutes. This becomes especially useful in warm climates or heated bedrooms. The goal is not to create an obsessive washing schedule. It is simply to recognize that clothing does not need to leave the house to collect odor. After 40, if you are trying to understand why you wake up smelling less fresh than you expect, do not look only at your body. Look at what your body has been wrapped in for 8 hours. Sometimes a fresher morning begins with cleaner nighttime clothing. 4. Clean the things that touch your hair, not only your hair. You can wash your hair carefully and still put old oil right back onto it within minutes. How? Through the objects that touch it. Hairbrushes, combs, hair clips, headbands, caps, helmet liners, scarves, and other accessories can gradually collect scalp oil, styling products, sweat, dust, and skin residue. Because they often do not look dirty, they may go weeks or even months without proper cleaning. Then you shampoo your scalp, dry your hair completely, pick up a brush coated with old buildup, and run it through your freshly washed hair. The cycle begins again. Before assuming that your scalp suddenly needs stronger shampoo after 40, inspect what touches it every day. Start with your brush. Remove trapped strands frequently rather than waiting until the base is packed with hair. Product, dust, and oil can become trapped underneath those strands. Clean the brush or comb according to the material it is made from and allow it to dry fully before using it again. Do not forget the handle. Styling creams, skin oils, and hand products can collect there as well. Then look at fabric accessories. A headband worn during walks or exercise may absorb sweat repeatedly. A favorite cap can look spotless outside, while its inner band holds weeks of contact with the forehead and scalp. A winter hat may be worn throughout an entire season, with almost no cleaning, because people think of it as outerwear. These items sit directly against hair and skin. Scarves deserve attention too. They repeatedly touch your neck, jawline, hair, makeup, fragrance, and outer clothing. A scarf can hold a stale scent long before it appears dirty. The useful principle is simple. If something regularly touches a part of your body that you wash, it should not remain outside your cleaning routine forever. This can actually reduce the temptation to wash your hair more aggressively. Sometimes the scalp itself is not the main problem. Old oil is simply being reintroduced from surrounding objects. That distinction becomes important because repeatedly stripping mature skin or scalp with harsh cleaning can sometimes lead to dryness or irritation. Good hygiene is not about maximum washing. It is about removing the source efficiently. A freshly cleaned brush will never attract attention. Nobody will compliment you because your comb is clean. But these invisible maintenance habits are often what allow the visible result, fresh hair, to last longer. 5. Stop ignoring the inside of jackets, coats, and collars. Some clothing clearly belongs in the laundry after one wear. Other clothing lives in a strange middle ground. Coats, blazers, jackets, cardigans, and heavier outer layers may be worn repeatedly because they do not appear dirty. That makes sense. Many are not designed to be washed every day. But there is one problem. The parts closest to your body can accumulate odor much faster than the rest of the garment. Think about a jacket collar. It sits near your neck, hair, jaw, and sometimes your face for hours. It can collect skin oil, hair products, perspiration, makeup, and fragrance. Cuffs repeatedly touch your hands and wrists. Underarm areas can absorb moisture through the layer underneath. From a distance, the jacket still looks completely clean. Then you put it on again. As the fabric warms against your body, yesterday's trapped scent begins to release. Suddenly your freshly showered body and freshly washed shirt are surrounded by an outer layer carrying several days of buildup. That can create the impression that you smell older or heavier, even when the odor is mainly coming from clothing. A better habit is to give frequently worn outerwear a short period of air before storing it. When you come home, do not automatically place a warm jacket into a crowded closed wardrobe. Hang it somewhere appropriate where air can move through it first. Open the front, empty the pockets. Allow body warmth and moisture to escape. Inspect collars and cuffs instead of judging the garment only by whether the front looks clean. Follow the care label for proper cleaning, especially with delicate pieces. Between full cleanings, some garments may benefit from appropriate brushing or spot care. You can also protect difficult-to-wash outerwear by using washable inner layers, but remember that the protective layer then needs regular cleaning itself. Another mistake is spraying perfume directly onto clothing that already smells stale. Fragrance mixed with old fabric odor does not create cleanliness. Sometimes it produces an even heavier scent because now two different smells are competing. First, remove the source. Then, if you enjoy fragrance, keep it subtle. After 40, before blaming every change in smell on your skin, examine your most frequently worn jacket. Sometimes yesterday is literally hanging in your wardrobe waiting to be worn again. 6. Dry skin folds completely before getting dressed. A shower cleans the body, but the hygiene routine is not finished when the water turns off. Drying matters. Most people quickly dry their arms, chest, legs, and hair, then put on clothes. But areas where skin touches skin can remain damp much longer than they realize. Under the breasts, around the lower abdomen, the groin, and other natural skin folds can hold moisture even after the rest of the body feels completely dry. Warmth and trapped moisture can make odor more noticeable later in the day. This does not mean someone is dirty. It simply means those areas do not evaporate moisture as easily as exposed skin. After bathing, take a little extra time to dry them gently and completely. Pat rather than aggressively rubbing sensitive skin. If necessary, allow a minute or two of air before getting dressed. The temperature of your shower can also change what happens next. If you take a very hot shower, your body may continue releasing heat afterward. You dry yourself, put on fresh clothes immediately, and then begin perspiring because your body is still trying to cool down. Now the clean clothing becomes damp almost instantly. Allowing yourself to cool slightly before dressing can prevent that. Bathroom ventilation helps too. A room filled with steam slows evaporation. Using the exhaust fan or otherwise reducing humidity makes the drying step more effective. On hot or humid days, this principle becomes even more important. If a close-fitting undershirt, bra, or other garment becomes very damp during the day. Changing that inner layer may restore freshness more effectively than adding perfume. And be careful about solving every moisture issue with heavy powders, strong antiseptics, or highly fragranced products. Sensitive areas can become irritated, and more product is not automatically more hygienic. The foundation is much simpler: clean skin, complete drying, breathable clothing appropriate for the situation, and changing damp garments when needed. Persistent rash, itching, pain, unusual discharge, or a strong new odor that does not improve with normal hygiene is different. That deserves medical attention rather than endless experimentation with cosmetic products. The everyday lesson, however, is straightforward. Do not rush from shower to clothing. Those extra seconds between washing and dressing can determine whether your body stays comfortably dry for the next several hours. 7. Stop reusing damp washcloths and shower tools for too long. There is a strange hygiene mistake that happens in bathrooms everywhere. People carefully clean their bodies with something they rarely clean properly. Washcloths, exfoliating mitts, shower sponges, and similar tools repeatedly become wet, touch the body, collect soap and skin residue, and then remain inside one of the most humid rooms in the house. If they never dry completely, they can develop their own stale smell. Then you use them again tomorrow. The problem is not necessarily which shower tool you use. The problem is whether that tool can be rinsed, dried, and maintained properly. After using a reusable cloth or mitt, rinse it thoroughly so old soap and residue do not remain trapped inside it. Squeeze out excess water, unfold it completely, and hang it where air can reach as much of the material as possible. Do not leave it as a wet ball in the corner of the shower. Do not leave it sitting in a pool of water near the drain. And do not assume that because soap touches it every day, it somehow cleans itself. If your washcloth stays damp for most of the day, rotating between two can give each one more drying time. Wash reusable fabric tools regularly and replace items that develop persistent odor, deterioration, or buildup that no longer rinses away easily. This lesson is not an excuse to scrub harder. In fact, that can create a different problem. Skin may become drier or more sensitive with age, and aggressive exfoliation can leave it irritated. The goal is not to scrape the body until it feels polished. Use enough friction to clean comfortably. The important difference is that the tool itself should begin clean. Also look at where you store these objects. A tightly packed shower caddy containing several wet products and cloths can remain humid for hours. Sometimes simply moving the drying cloth outside the wettest part of the bathroom makes a noticeable difference. And if you prefer washing with your hands, that is fine too. There is nothing magical about owning a special bathing tool. The Japanese-inspired principle here is maintenance. Anything that repeatedly participates in cleaning should itself be kept clean. People frequently change soap brands when they notice odor. They buy stronger body washes or add more products. Before doing that, smell the thing you are washing yourself with. The answer may already be hanging inside the shower. 8. Give undergarments a shorter working life than the rest of your wardrobe. There is a difference between clothing that still exists and clothing that still performs its job well. Undershirts, bras, underwear, camisoles, and other close-to-skin garments work harder than many pieces in the wardrobe. They spend hours absorbing warmth, moisture, skin oil, and friction while protecting your outer clothing. Over months and years, the fabric changes, elastic stretches, fibers become worn, certain sections become harder to rinse completely. Some garments begin developing odor much faster than they did when they were new. Yet because underwear and undershirts are mostly hidden, people may keep them far longer than they would keep a visibly worn outer shirt. You do not need to throw something away simply because it has reached a certain birthday. Judge it by performance. Take an older undershirt. It smells clean when you remove it from the laundry, but after wearing it for only a short time, the underarm area already smells stale, while a newer one does not. That tells you something. A bra band may stay damp much longer than it once did. Another garment may have a smell that disappears in the wash but returns almost immediately when warmed against the body. At some point, repeatedly rescuing that item may no longer make sense. A useful Japanese household mindset is to maintain useful possessions carefully, but also recognize when an object has stopped performing its intended function. Apply that same thinking to hygiene clothing. Rotation helps. If you repeatedly wear the same few undergarments because they are your favorites, they receive more wear, more washing, and more strain than the others. Having enough comfortable basics allows you to rotate without stretching one piece through another day. Fit also matters. Clothing that has become too tight may trap more warmth and moisture in certain areas. Garments with exhausted elastic can bunch, rub, or sit differently against the body. Replacing one worn base layer can sometimes make an entire outfit stay fresher. And this does not require an expensive wardrobe transformation. Nobody sees most of these items. Their job is functional. After 40, spending money on another strong fragrance may feel like the obvious solution to changing body scent. But sometimes a fresh, properly fitting layer between your skin and clothing creates a bigger practical improvement. Good hygiene often works quietly underneath everything people actually notice. Clean the everyday objects that keep returning to your body. Your bathroom is not the only place where hygiene happens. Think about the objects you touch every day: your phone case, eyeglasses, reusable shopping bag, handbag strap, fabric watch band, headphones, earbuds, reusable mask, exercise accessories, and other personal items. They move constantly between your hands, face, hair, desk, car, kitchen, public spaces, and home. Yet many are cleaned only when they visibly look dirty. That allows oils and odors to accumulate slowly. A fabric watch strap can begin carrying a sour smell from repeated contact with warm skin. Headphone cushions can absorb scalp oil. A handbag strap touches the same section of clothing or shoulder day after day. Glasses repeatedly sit against the nose, ears, and temples. Then after you shower, those exact items return to your clean body. A practical Japanese-style cleaning mindset is to include high-contact personal objects in regular household maintenance. This does not mean disinfecting everything obsessively. Choose a few items and make their cleaning routine normal. Wipe your phone case appropriately. Clean your glasses. Wash reusable shopping bags when the material allows it. Clean fabric watch bands according to their care instructions. Wipe headphone cushions and allow them to dry fully before wearing them again. Empty your handbag occasionally instead of allowing crumbs, receipts, cosmetics, and old items to accumulate indefinitely. Exercise accessories need even more attention. A cap used on walks can collect sweat. Headphones used during exercise absorb moisture around the ears. A waist pack or reusable fabric accessory may repeatedly touch damp clothing and then be put away immediately afterward. If the item already smells before you put it on, you are beginning your day with an existing odor source. Reusable bags deserve special attention because they may carry groceries, vegetables, packaged food, or occasional spills. A small unnoticed leak can stay inside the fabric and create a strange smell that later seems to be coming from somewhere else. After washing any reusable fabric item, let it dry completely before folding or storing it. The larger lesson is that personal freshness is an ecosystem. Your body does not exist separately from everything around it. Skin touches clothes, clothes touch bags, hair touches headphones, hands touch phones, and then touch the face. Keeping those contact points clean prevents yesterday's buildup from constantly being returned to today's clean body. 10. Stop letting cooking odors become your personal scent. Sometimes what people interpret as body odor is not coming from the body at all. It is coming from dinner. Cooking creates steam, smoke, oil particles, and strong aromas that can settle into hair, clothing, curtains, sofas, and other fabrics. Fried food, grilled ingredients, fish, spices, and oils can remain noticeable long after the meal has finished. If you cook while wearing clothing you plan to wear outside later, those smells may follow you. The same thing can happen to hair. Hair can absorb environmental odor surprisingly easily, particularly when cooking occurs in a closed kitchen with limited airflow. This is where Japanese-style attention to ventilation can be useful. Turn on the kitchen exhaust before strong cooking begins, rather than waiting until smoke or steam has already filled the room. Where appropriate and safe, allow fresh air to enter. Continue ventilating for a while after cooking, instead of switching everything off immediately when you remove the pan from the stove. If you are preparing something particularly aromatic, wearing a washable apron can help protect your clothes. If you have longer hair, tying it back may reduce how much exposed hair sits directly in rising cooking vapor. Also look at where you store clothing. A coat hanging near the kitchen can absorb cooking odors even if nobody wears it. Scarves placed over dining chairs can do the same thing. In a smaller home or open-plan apartment, this can happen very quickly. Move frequently worn clothing away from the cooking zone whenever possible. Soft furnishings deserve occasional airing too. Curtains and cushions can quietly hold the smell of many meals, creating a background scent that you stop noticing because you live with it every day. Your nose adapts to familiar surroundings. That means you can walk out of your home carrying an odor you could no longer detect inside. Another mistake is reaching immediately for room spray. Adding a powerful floral or sweet fragrance to strong food odor can create a heavier atmosphere rather than a fresher one. Ventilation first. Remove the unwanted smell rather than trying to overpower it. Once your home returns closer to a neutral scent, it becomes much easier to recognize whether an odor is actually coming from your body, your clothing, or the environment. Freshness after 40 is not always about shower technique. Sometimes the problem began beside the frying pan. 11. Upgrade the cleaning between your teeth, not just the parts you can see. You can brush your teeth twice a day and still leave important areas untouched. A toothbrush is designed to clean the accessible surfaces of teeth, but the tight spaces between them are more difficult for ordinary bristles to reach. Food debris and plaque can remain there. Over time, those hidden areas may contribute to unpleasant breath even when the visible teeth look perfectly clean. This is why brushing longer or adding stronger mouthwash may not always solve the problem. You may simply be cleaning the same accessible surfaces more aggressively while the neglected spaces remain neglected. Interdental cleaning is the missing step for many people. Depending on your teeth, that might mean floss, a small interdental brush, or another tool recommended by your dental professional. The exact method can vary because everyone's mouth is different. Some people have very tight spaces. Others have larger gaps, crowns, bridges, implants, or dental work that changes what works best. The principle remains the same: clean the places ordinary brushing cannot reach well. Fresh breath is not primarily about mint flavor. Mint can temporarily change how the mouth smells. It cannot physically remove material trapped between teeth. Consistency is far more useful than intensity. Cleaning gently and regularly is better than aggressively attacking the gums once every few days because you suddenly feel concerned about breath. If gums bleed frequently, remain swollen, or feel painful, do not simply brush harder. Those symptoms are a reason to speak with a dentist. Dry mouth can also contribute to noticeable breath, and it may become more common for some adults as they age. Certain medications can contribute as well. Drinking enough water can support normal hydration, but persistent dry mouth deserves professional advice because saliva has important functions beyond making the mouth feel comfortable. If you use a night guard, retainer, removable denture, or similar appliance, that object needs its own cleaning routine according to professional instructions. There is little benefit in carefully cleaning your mouth and then immediately inserting an appliance carrying old buildup. After 40, oral hygiene may need to evolve. The mouth you have now may contain dental work, different gum spacing, or other changes that were not present when you developed your brushing routine decades ago. That does not mean aging automatically creates bad breath. It means the routine may need another layer. Clean what you can easily see, but do not forget the tiny spaces that nobody can. 12. Give your home and wardrobe a daily fresh air reset. The final mistake does not happen on your skin. It happens in the air surrounding your skin. A closed home gradually collects the ordinary smells of daily life: cooking, bathroom humidity, damp fabrics, cleaning products, shoes, furniture, pets, laundry, and the people living inside it. When windows rarely open, closets stay tightly packed, and damp air has nowhere to escape, clothing and household fabrics can slowly absorb that mixture. The most difficult part is that you may stop smelling it. Human beings become accustomed to familiar odors. Your home can have a noticeable closed room scent while smelling completely normal to you. Then you get dressed, leave the house, and carry part of that environment with you in your clothing. A useful Japanese-inspired habit is to give the home a short ventilation reset when outdoor air quality, weather, and safety allow it. If possible, opening windows on different sides of the space can help create cross-ventilation. You do not necessarily need to leave the house open for hours. The goal is simply to replace stagnant indoor air with moving air regularly enough that moisture and odor do not settle permanently. Wardrobes need breathing space too. If every hanger is pressed tightly against the next, fabric has little room for circulation. Opening wardrobe doors occasionally can help, especially after humid weather. Never place clothing into a closed wardrobe until you are certain it is completely dry. This applies even when an item feels only slightly damp. That remaining moisture becomes much harder to release once trapped between other garments. Depending on the material and care instructions, some blankets, cushions, and washable household fabrics can also benefit from appropriate airing. The purpose is not to bake everything in harsh sunlight, which can damage some materials. It is simply to prevent moisture and stale odor from remaining locked inside fabric indefinitely. Do not let air freshener become a substitute for ventilation. A room can smell strongly of perfume and still be damp. Fragrance changes what your nose detects. It does not remove moisture from a closet or stale air from a room. Start with a neutral, clean environment. Then fragrance becomes optional rather than necessary. Pay attention to persistent dampness as well. If you regularly see condensation, notice musty walls, or smell significant moisture despite ordinary ventilation, the underlying cause may require more than a daily window opening habit. Leaks, poor airflow, or excessive humidity should be addressed properly. This final habit connects almost everything we have discussed. You can have clean skin, but a stale towel can return odor. You can have clean clothing, but a damp wardrobe can change it. You can wash your hair, but smoky cooking air can settle into it again. You can clean your home, but if moisture has nowhere to escape, freshness will not last. That is the deeper Japanese lesson worth remembering. Hygiene is not one action performed in the shower. It is a system. What touches you, what surrounds you, what becomes wet, what gets stored, and what receives fresh air all influence the final result. After 40, you do not necessarily need more products. You may simply need a smarter system. Smelling different after 40 does not mean you suddenly became unhygienic, and it does not mean aging has to come with a permanent older smell. Often, the biggest improvement comes from updating small routines that have quietly stayed unchanged for years. Your towels, laundry, sleepwear, grooming tools, clothing, oral care, and even the air inside your home can influence how fresh you feel. Choose one habit from this list and correct that part of your routine first, then build from there. Real freshness is not created by hiding odor under stronger fragrance. It comes from preventing the small sources of buildup that fragrance can never truly solve.